Untitled Talk with your host, Drew Wishover, entrepreneur, published author, and owner of Inspired Title Group, along with his co-host and director of operations, Amy Maley. Each week, the team will offer industry terminology, tips and strategies, along with the occasional real estate professional to help educate as it pertains to buying, selling, or just plain old home ownership. We thank you for spending time with us today. Now, let's join this episode of Title Talk.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to Title Talk. It is Thursday.
It is Thursday. It is
And
October.
it
It
is
is the latter part of October.
It is. It is October, the ending of. We are your friends at Inspired Title. My name is Drew.
And my name is Amy.
We are so happy that you guys tuned in today and joined us. We just got a little delay. That's why we were a little tardy in coming on here today. Our special guest, we just found out that they have COVID, so they are unable to make it here today, but at least we wanted to
Give a little shout out to
Yeah.
what Almost Homes is. Wish Mel well.
Oh, that was good.
That was good. And hopefully we will get them onto the show in the next handful of weeks or so before
Absolutely.
the year ends, before our fundraiser.
Absolutely.
So Almost Home is a great organization that its main goal is to help homeless people in Chicago. They do soup kitchens, grab donations from other people, and then they give it out to people in need.
That's awesome.
So if you get a chance, check out their website. It has a lot of information about what they do, who they help, and what we could do to help them. Also, they have a really awesome Facebook page that's always up and running with a lot of cool content on there. So be sure to give them a follow, give them a like, and hopefully, like I said, we'll get Mel out here in the next handful of weeks or so. And yeah.
That's fantastic. Good job. Our event is December the 10th. We are going to be partnering up with the folks from Almost Home and doing a fundraiser at Linwood Bowl, which will be on Saturday,
December 10th.
10th of December.
3 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
There you go.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Look
just
at me.
Ripping it off.
Rip it. Yeah,
Oh.
and there will be fundraising, there will be bowling, there will be food, and it's going to be a great time. It's a little bit of a thank you to all of our fantastic clients. Kids are welcome, of course, and all the proceeds is going to Almost Home. So
Yep.
hopefully we can help them out somehow.
We're sorry that we couldn't bring that guest today. We were really looking forward to speaking with them and having the opportunity to learn a little bit more about it, because it is such a great organization, and knowing that all the proceeds that we raise from this fundraiser in December is going to go there, I just wanted to at least have you guys get an understanding about the organization and learn a little bit more about Mel and how they got into this and all the details behind it. So like Amy said earlier, I'm sure we're gonna get them back on and let them tell their story, and we'll be sure to keep you guys posted on that. So
And feel better, Mel.
yes, definitely feel better. We definitely wishing you well, and we are excited to have you when you are all healed. So in the meantime, we're gonna go into talking about things that we know.
Yeah, we do.
Right.
So go ahead, Ryan, flip that slide. So welcome to Thursday's episode of Title Talk 2.0. I'm Amy.
I'm Drew.
And you are here. So yes, we are going to do, like you said, we're going to talk about what we know.
Yep, title.
Title.
We know a lot more than title, but this is what we do day in and day out. I hope you guys were able to capture our Monday vibes.
Monday motivation
Monday
and positive vibes. You just snowballed Monday and Tuesday into one fantastic day.
Yeah, I went ahead and did that. I'm sorry, but Monday motivation, really great opportunity. Definitely go back and re-listen to that, or if you haven't listened to it for the first time, definitely some good points in there about it's really about mindsets and betterment of yourselves and things. And Amy did a great job on the negativity piece and how to kind of overcome some of those things and some things to think about.
Combating negativity.
Yeah, it was really great. So she did that on Tuesday. So one of the questions that I've been asked from some of the listeners over the course of the week and the past weeks is, So you guys are doing more than one day a week, because they all know that they tune in at 10 o'clock on a Thursday,
Correct.
but when can they catch us on Monday and Tuesday?
Monday and Tuesday, we're usually on around noon o'clock.
Noon o'clock.
Noon o'clock.
So
Yep.
set your alarm for noon o'clock, Monday and Tuesday.
Take your lunch break at noon o'clock.
Perfect.
Tune in. And to be honest, it's nothing title related. So if title really isn't your jam, come watch us Monday and Tuesday.
It
and
is.
it's a little bit more of a.
It's us.
It's coming into Drew and Amy.
Yeah,
life,
it
rather
really
than
is.
Title life.
It's inspired by us, which is Inspired Title and Inspired Business and Development, but nonetheless, it's talking about ways to kind of deal with life and maybe some mindset, maybe some mental health pieces. We talk about still current events. We
Yes.
still talk about the days.
The national days, we
Absolutely.
had a cupcake eating contest, and I dominated on Tuesday.
Dominated. She totally dominated that. She rocked it. She definitely celebrates the wins. There's no doubt. Because I believe there was a couple years ago we did we used to do the football picks, and
Dude, I
we
suck
stopped
so
that
bad
because
at
I just was dominating you every time, and it was not.
That is absolutely a lie. That is 100%
Oh, I know.
falsification of a story.
I don't think so. I think
It was.
we can roll the tape, but that's okay.
We legitimately were like neck and neck, back and forth.
I think we should just roll the tape. And one of these days we'll just go ahead and have that ability to just go roll the tape.
Ryan's smirking because he knows you're wrong. It's
So I
fantastic.
think he's smirking because he likes the fact that
You're
dominated.
wrong!
So we thank you guys again for being here, and as Amy said, we don't want to jump into a little bit of conversation, I guess relevant to a lot of things that you're hearing and dealing with, and there's a lot more buy-sells today than there were
Dude.
refinances. Right?
And we are in the age, I swear to gosh, 2022 is the year of the unnormal.
Very.
Like, I feel like the last, handful of years prior to 2022, like 2019, 2020, 2021, I feel like I was really good at my job. Like, I knew what I was doing. I felt confident in there. I swear to gosh, doing titles in 2022, I do them 19 times. Like, I look them over because it's just like I'm checking deeds constantly.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
checking wills. There's deceased or tenancy affidavits. There's liens that are they paid off? Are they, like,
It's awesome.
this is, no.
Well, what's awesome about it is your recognition of it, but like you speak to the point to say that you feel less confident.
And knock on wood, there's like no claims or anything that have come back on anything. Wash hands, clean hands. But it's just been like a year of, I feel like my eyes have been crossed for like 11 months.
And I think what used to be easy or normal or basic or standard
Standard, right?
has been shifted, and we've talked about it before. You go into a deal and you're researching for the problem because there is one.
There's got to be one.
Right.
Or like when a seller is not listed anywhere on the property anywhere.
Right. It's crazy. It's creepy.
It's creepy.
Right?
Speaking of creepy,
Perfect segue.
to the horror stories.
Yes.
AKA the top 10 most common title claims ITG watches out for.
Yes, we do. This is one of the things that we protect you guys from on a daily basis. It is exactly the reason you need a title company, right? The reason you need a title company is to protect you guys from these horror stories that can happen. The first one that kind of pops into our head is the errors in public record. So what does that mean? What is public record? Public record is that anybody can access it at any time, right? So homeownership rights can be absolutely affected by an error within the mistakes of the counties, the recorder's office, a clerical error, somebody files something on the wrong property.
Something's indexed wrong. So what indexing means is, so every property has a PIN, a property index number, that is related directly to that property. And one number wrong, this is now connected to your neighbor,
Right.
not to you anymore. So
Right.
obviously humans are humans and people make errors.
Right.
So sometimes this stuff gets posted against the wrong properties. Sometimes it doesn't get posted at all, and you can only find it by looking at the person's name or
Yep.
a specific document number. So that's why when I'm running these title searches, it's not just like, what's your PIN? Let's move on. Like it's
Yeah.
digging, it's
But-
ruling.
But not to kind of deter you guys from saying, well, gee, does that mean that lien is mine? No, it means that Amy has identified that it doesn't belong
Correct.
on your property. Therefore, it's missing from this one, and we need to apply it to this one and make sure that it is picked up and applied to where it belongs. It doesn't mean that, oh, gee, they misindexed it because of a human mistake, that now you own that liability.
Correct. No,
right?
you do not.
It just means that that's where the potential for miss and error on our side is there. You know, it's like, well, you look at the public record, you go, oh no, I don't see any lien on the property, and the people are not going to be, you know, honest and forthright and say, oh no, there's really a lien on my property.
Right.
Not everybody's honest, and we go ahead and issue title insurance and close the deal, and there is no lien, and all of a sudden, that lien holder comes back and says, hey, where's my money? Well, wait, it's not on the title policy. Uh-oh, we're liable now because we missed it. So that's the horror story piece of that is the liability. Even though it is attached to your property, we miss it, we own it, and if we raise it, we share it with the you know, everybody. It's correctable. We get out there and we work with the attorney, we work with the lender, we work with all the professionals to get these things clear so that the transfer of that transaction from seller to buyer is clear and clean of any issues.
Correct.
What else you got?
This kind of ties into the next one, which is unknown liens. It's sometimes it's a credit lien, sometimes it's a bankruptcy lien, sometimes it's a grass cutting lien. So if you are a crazy person like I am, I look at my property probably 3 or 4 times a year, just to see if there's any weird things that pop up, things I don't know about. So sometimes these get recorded against your property and you might not even know about them, but when you try to sell your house, you will find out about them. Like I said, whether it be a judgment, so that is another.
Well,
and the other weird thing I've been hearing a little bit more recently is realtors getting told by the sellers that they have no mortgages, but they actually do have mortgages. So, you know, we'll get a title order that comes in that says like property's owned free and clear, like this should be a nice easy one, and I'll run title on it and I'll be like, well, there was a mortgage taken out 2 years ago, so I'll find it. Like, if you know what I mean, like I don't want to sound like a butthole, but like if there's something on your property record or your person, we will find it.
So the unknown lien, to kind of elaborate a little bit more on that, the towns and villages, they don't have to record it, okay? So to Amy's point, you know, your house is abandoned because you've left there, or the buyer, you're buying a house from somebody and the seller no longer lives there, okay? So they've just not maintained the property at all. The grass is growing, it's out of control.
Haven't paid their water bills.
Right. So the village of blah says, you know what, that grass is too long. We're gonna impose a fine of $500 because they didn't cut the grass, and it's an ordinance, and now that is on the property. Okay, it's not recorded, it's not in the public record, it's nowhere to be found. Okay. However, when you go in to get the stamps for the deed, which we'll talk about later, you can't because there's this fine of $500. How do we know about this? That's where, again, we dig deep. We go into, there's a Freedom of Information Act, also known as a FOIA, that is requested typically by the attorneys to make sure that everything is free and clear with that property. You don't want to buy a property with any kind of municipality liens on it that are unrecorded. So some of those things are the unknown liens that Amy speaks of. So another item here is illegal deeds. And not to misunderstand that like the deed is illegal from the standpoint that it's wrong. It's just that the parties that are executing it are maybe not allowed to. Maybe I deed something to somebody, but I don't own it. And because the chain of title through the public records shows that Drew never took ownership. How did Drew give this to Amy? I should have never given it to Amy. I should never been able to give it to Amy. However, through the process of going through and researching this is where we find that things are able to be done, and there's a methodical process. And from beginning to end, all of the transactions and transfers have taken place and they're done properly. You look at like, forgeries and things. Well, some forgeries are obvious, some are not. I mean, some people are really, really good at forging signatures and such. So you look at those things and kind of go, oh, this signature is really weird. Kind of gives you a stopping point, and you can kind of look at it.
For sure.
But that's a big piece of, now with talking about the elderly, you've got people that are not of sound mind and body.
Correct.
Which, they contest the fact that, grandpa deeded that property to a person who's buying it, and all the kids are going, well, wait, grandpa was mentally unstable. He couldn't do that. All right, well, that's a problem. Now that deed is really defective. So the word illegal is maybe replaced by defective, or the transaction is not, it's not like it's, oh my God, it's against the law.
Right.
I mean, technically, yes, that transaction should not happen. But that's where, the research of what Amy does behind the scenes is more than just going, oh, well, yeah, everything's in place and everything's good. There's a fair amount of, look-sees that go into this.
Right, this next one is missing errors.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah,
No, I'm just kidding.
That's a big one.
It's just,
That one has so much to it, though, especially
Yeah.
with what we're dealing with. Like a lot of our clients, we deal in this a lot. One of our
we do.
attorney agents.
One of our best attorney agents, right across the hallway from us.
Yeah.
God love her. She has a lot of clients that have passed that we deal with.
Yeah.
So I feel like the last 2 years I've learned a lot about how secure is selling a house with a will versus having it go through probate versus affidavits of heirships versus there's a lot. So there might be a will that's written leaving one child off of it.
Yep.
And this child could come back 10 years later saying, what the heck? Did you, I was a child.
I'm an heir.
I'm an heir. I am a child.
Right.
I am an heir to this, and this house was sold without
Right.
running it past me, and now the person that owns there theoretically might not have the right to live there.
Right. They contest everything. They go through the process of filing a lawsuit to contest the validity of the transfer. They contest the fact that the parties that made this will were not of sound mind and body, so that they left me out intentional, and they meant to put me in there, but they didn't. So that stuff is crazy, and that stuff is real. Truly the story is that, you could have some stranger come knocking on your door and saying, yeah, you don't own this house, I do.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of look at them and go, what do you mean? Well, what I mean is, and they go through the process and tell you this, and now you have to bring attorneys in this thing, and you gotta fight.
Yeah, you actually sold 66% of the property.
Right.
Not the full 100%.
Yeah, that is true.
So please, make sure that the title company, if you are selling your house, or if you are buying your house, make sure the title company is very careful with the heirship and the affidavit and the wills.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 5 is forgeries. That is simply stated as literally what that is. We don't live in a completely honest world, as you know. People forge and fabricate documents all the time, and it's crazy. They think that they're going to just get away with it, and they just don't fit. They don't belong in the chain, and it's easy to spot them sometimes, and sometimes it's really difficult, and it will absolutely obscure that right for the ownership of the property. And once these things come to light, it's going to really jeopardize your ability to be owning of that property. So forgery is another thing that title insurance and we protect you guys
This
from.
stuff's scary.
Yeah.
Like the reality of what we do every day
It's
is a very scary thing.
Yeah, it's real.
And next one is the Undiscovered Encumbrances. I feel like this is similar to these unrecorded liens and stuff coming up. You might not know that a party has a lien on your property or taken out a mortgage or something. So it's similar to the unknown liens.
Mm-hmm.
And encumbrances also deals with surveys and all that blah blah.
Which we're going to talk about now.
So maybe you own a house that is actually zoned somewhere else.
Yep.
That you're not actually legally allowed to live in as a single family home. Maybe
Mhm.
it's zoned as commercial. A person put a house up top. There's someone. Oh my gosh! There's someone selling like a $600,000 2-acre property with like a shack on there
Right.
in Homer, and I'm like, but are people allowed to actually use that as a home?
Right.
You know, so
Right.
it's one of those scary things. So make sure the house is zoned properly and they're not encumbered by, it being in a forest preserve, because
Right.
you also cannot live in forest preserves that are natural wetland.
The other thing a title insurance policy will kind of protect you against is that unknown easement. Typically easements are defined by the surveys, and surveys will tell you, hey, there's a 25-foot building setback line, which means that your property has got to be 25 feet from the street back before it can start. There's an easement that runs in the back of your house that is for the public utilities. You've got a right-of-way back there, and typically people say, hey, I'm going to use that space because it makes my backyard larger and things. Just be aware that if you do that, these folks have the ability to come in and remove that and kind of cause some havoc in your little world and your right to using the areas maybe you'd like to. So some of these unknown easements that pop up that are, maybe the surveyor didn't see it, didn't show it, and you feel that part of the land is yours and you can utilize it, and you put a swimming pool in there, and all of a sudden you can't use that swimming pool because here comes another utility company that goes digging right through the middle of this and goes, hey, we have to dig out your pool, and that's a huge financial loss. So that's where the risk comes into this, is when there's financial loss. That's why when you go to put a fence up, or when you go to build a shed, you go to the town and village and they want to see if you have a survey, because they want to make sure that you're putting it where you can, not on an easement where you can't.
Speaking of surveys,
Right on.
boundary and survey disputes.
Big.
Be nice to your neighbors. No, but for real. So a lot of times when houses are bought and sold, there will be a survey required. And what this does is lay out exactly what your piece of land is, and if there's differing in surveys,
Mm-hmm.
your driveway might be halfway on your neighbor's property.
Right.
And then theoretically, that's their driveway and that's their land, so they can blow that up.
Yep.
So make sure when you are building a house or looking at surveys, your house is completely in the lot lines. Don't let your shed go to your neighbors. Don't let your garage go to your neighbors.
Right. Sidewalks, fences.
All that
Yeah,
fun stuff.
Absolutely.
So they can actually, if your property is on your neighbor's property, that they can claim ownership of that property.
Definitely.
So.
Definitely. We touched a little bit on this. It's kind of the undiscovered will, meaning that somebody basically dies without a will or any heirs or that seem like that. And the state may decide, hey, we're going to sell the assets, that asset being the house, and all of a sudden years go by and there is an heir that comes out of the woodwork and goes, hey, no, that was Dad's house, and I didn't know.
I was supposed to get Dad's house.
I was the one that was supposed to, and I'm the only heir, so it comes to me, and guess what? You no longer own your house, John and Sally, I do. And what do? You now have to go through the process of filing a title claim, and in some instances, it's a quiet title suit to proving the ownership and proving the rightful transfers, and it is a mess. They are absolutely messy. So again, undiscovered wills, that's a real horror story to unravel in the world of this.
Correct. And the last one is false impersonation of a previous owner.
Huh.
Dude, you wonder why I watch all those detective shows and stuff?
You and Carol both.
Dude, Carol, props.
Yeah.
ID is on my TV whenever I have the remote.
Sometimes I'm afraid. Joe said the same thing when we were bowling one day. Like, I think our wives can absolutely kill us and get away with it. Mm-hmm.
No, but for real, there's one of the top 10 most common title claims is false impersonation of a previous owner. So this could be something like mom or dad are getting older, they decide to go live in a nursing home, and you, as their son or daughter, say you have the rights to act as their POA and sell their property.
Yeah.
When actually you don't, because you have no document stating that. It could be someone that comes out of the woodwork saying this is my property to sell, and they sign it away. It's scary. So.
Yeah.
Find a title company you trust that will sleuth and dig around to make sure the person who is selling you their home can actually sell you their home.
And I hope that you guys were able to find some of these things to be useful and
And we
beneficial.
really hope none of this has happened to anybody out there
Yeah,
that's watching.
God forbid. I mean, that definitely is not something we want to hear. So if you guys have any more questions about that, certainly, throw them in the chat. We'll be happy to answer any of those questions. Or if you have a horror story of your own that you want to share, let us know. We'll read it out loud and share it with all the viewers as well. But I want to go into our conversation of questions that I know Amy's had a lot of and received a handful of questions on this, and it's kind of a common question that I get from realtors and lenders. What deed should I use? What type of deed should I use in this transaction? And it's a real question. It's legit. I get it. So maybe talking a little bit about the different deeds and their function might help give you guys a little better understanding. There's really, in my opinion, and there's a lot of deeds, but
There are so many deeds.
and
There's probably 77.
I'm not going to get into some of the super special deeds, executor deeds and things like that.
Trustees deeds.
Well,
We have a deed and trust, but not a trustees deed.
that's similar. I mean, they're similar, but
Similar, yes.
I think what we should do is just kind of touch on the common ones that are most commonly dealt with, and the first one, which is the lowest on the chain of deed, if you will, is the quitclaim deed. It really is just the lowest form of deed transfer in the process. It gives you no warranties.
Nope.
It gives you no protections. It doesn't promise anything.
Nope.
It doesn't promise that property that you're buying is free and clear in
Nope.
any way of anything. Okay? And my favorite example is,
The Brooklyn Bridge.
yep, I can deed you right now, well, as you watch this, I can write it up right here. I can deed the Brooklyn Bridge to you. And guess what? What do you own?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Because I don't own it. So literally, a quitclaim deed says whatever I own, I'm transferring to you, with no warranties, saying I don't know if there's tax issues, I don't know if there's liens or encumbrances, I don't even know if it's really done correctly,
Or if it's really a house.
or if it's really even a house or habitable, right? So that is the, typically those are used when you're transferring between relatives.
Yes. And in refinances, we'll see them a lot.
Yep.
Either when it goes through a divorce, it sometimes happens.
Yep.
So quit claiming somebody's interest in the quote unquote property to somebody else.
Right. It's literally saying I'm going to take the husband off, and he's going to take and quit claim his ownership in the property to his ex-spouse, and now he's free and clear of ownership. She owns it 100%, but she owns it with a quit claim deed only.
Hey, good luck. All right.
So,
All right. Next is the one you want to see when you were purchasing a property: the warranty deed.
indeed.
So what a warranty deed is saying that I own this property. This is my property. I have no taxes owed. I have no open mortgages. I have no encumbrances. This is mine, and I'm giving it all to you.
Yep.
I warrant it to you.
Yep. The warranty deed is the one with the most protections.
Yes.
It's the one that the attorneys are going to, encourage you to use, because that's the one that really provides the most protection. for the
Warranty
transfer.
deeds. Don't buy a house with a quitclaim deed.
Yes, please don't buy a house.
Ever.
with a quitclaim deed. Please don't buy a house with a quitclaim deed.
Ever.
Um,
The next one is mind-boggling.
this next one you'll
It's
hear,
tricky.
and it's a special warranty deed, which is
Because you hear special and you're like, this is the best.
right.
This is giving me all the protection in the entire United States, and I will never lose my house
Exactly.
ever.
And that's where the misnomer is placed, because they think that does have higher precedent than the warranty deed. Don't misunderstand, the warranty deed is the most strengthful deed you can utilize. A special warranty deed says, I'm going to warranty and I'm going to deed this property to you, and I am 100% giving you everything that I can give you from the time I owned it till the time I'm giving it to you. Prior to that, not sure. So from the period of time, if I've owned it for a year,
I'll cover this year.
it's good. There's nothing that's happened in the year that I've owned it. Prior to that, I'm not going to talk to you about. But right here, I got you. Out here, no. Okay?
No.
So realistically, that special warranty deed, Tammy's saying that everybody thinks it's greater. It's really not.
It should be the unspecial warranty deed.
It's special in that it's taking out some of the language and allowing for special language to be from the time that I've owned it to the time I'm selling it. That's literally the purpose of the special warranty deed, just the period of time. So that is the people, like James said, they get all excited about, I'm going to do this with a special warranty deed. Great. Hopefully they've owned it for 50 years, because then you're probably okay.
Yeah.
But if they've owned it for 3,
It's a little
you might have some exposure there.
So get a warranty deed.
Back
Not a
to that.
special
Yes.
warranty deed.
Yes.
And the last one we're just gonna touch on really quick are deeds and trust. So this is what you use when you are transferring the property out of a trust. A lot of times, if you talk to Eileen next door, she will say your property should be in a trust.
Yep.
It's the safest place in a trust, because what you can do is, in these trust documents, you lay down exactly what you want to happen with your property. Heaven forbid that you pass. So it's different than a warranty deed, because it is a deed of trust, because that property is held in a trust. You're not transferring it from an individual, you're transferring it from a trust.
Right. However,
Yeah.
or further, that deed into that trust can be done by
A
quitclaim deed
deed and trust,
or
or
a
a
warranty deed,
warranty
right?
deed and trust.
So depending on how that language is written, will depend on what you're ultimately getting. So you may be getting the full warranty of that whole thing and putting it in the trust, and you're good.
Mm-hmm.
Or are you sure they own it because it's a quitclaim deed? What am I really getting?
Right.
Hey, I just put the Brooklyn Bridge in my trust, but they didn't own it, so you don't have the Brooklyn Bridge in your trust. Again, it's that whole protection piece behind it. So
Correct.
Definitely consult attorneys through that process, because they will assist you in that matter.
And this is another one where sometimes people decide to put their home in a trust, so they will do a quitclaim deed and trust from themselves as individuals into their trust.
Yeah.
So
That's okay.
that is something that is a lot more acceptable
Yeah,
than like
it's yours.
right, than a random quitclaim deed and trust to a
Correct.
different individual.
Correct. You're quitclaiming your interest, which
Correct.
you know all about, into this trust. That's cool.
So that's when they'll
That's cool.
most of the time use those. So those are usually safe.
Yep. So our final.
I don't want to talk about these because they make me so angry.
This is definitely a hanging point for AIM.
Does the ball
in
go
this
right or
process.
left when it's above my feet? That's
Absolutely.
what this is.
Absolutely. If I get asked a question from Amy, the most common question I get is the tenancy question. And what is tenancy, and how does this work, and what's right, what's wrong? Again,
And I think it's in my brain. It's everything sounds so similar. Like it's tenants in commons, it's joint tenants, it's
Yep.
there's the word tenant and everything. It's
So
not
there's-
like the special word.
Yeah, so there's really 3 tenancies that we speak about in Illinois, okay? I'll take on the first one, which is the tenants in common. And the tenants in common is basically that, each of you guys can own a divisible interest in the property. It could be 50-50, it could be 75-25. They'll use tenants in common in cases where, there's several siblings, so they each own a quarter, because there's 4 of them. So tenants in common says, whatever I own, you own. It's broken up, and then what happens? So the purpose of the tenancy is to deal with what happens upon death. Okay, and that's really what the tenancy speaks of. The deeds don't speak to the tenancy. I'm sorry. The deeds don't speak to what happens upon death. The tenancy dictates that.
Yes.
So, for example, you'll see, Drew and Carol Wishover as husband and wife, right? Drew Wishover married to Carol Wishover as tenants in common, or as tenants by the entirety, or as joint tenants. All 3 of those have very different meanings, okay? And if it was Drew and Carol, tenants in common, it would say that if something happened to me, okay, my portion of that could go to somebody else, probate, whatever the case may be.
If there's a will, it it could deed just that half percent
Right.
interest or whatever percent interest that person has.
So I have control over my 50% interest, and Carol has her control. She can leave it to the dog, and I could leave it to
Is she gonna leave it to Biscuit or Ripken though?
Biscuit, because Biscuit's younger.
But Ripken's the BA. He's the
Oh,
house
he
king.
is. Ripken is the BA. There is no doubt. So again, it doesn't mean that it comes to me. It could be. I mean, it certainly could be
I think
that I
it
leave my 50% to, Carol. But realistically, if people are tenants in common, maybe it's a brother and a sister. That's what this tenancy allows, is not necessarily married couples that have to do this. It could be brothers and sisters, it could be family, it could be friends, however you want it to be. And again, it's the 100% is divisible throughout the process.
Ripken for sure, she said.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
All right, the next one I'm going to talk about is joint tenants. So unlike tenants in common, joint tenancy, when you're holding a property, if someone passes, all of the interest in their property is put into the other person they are holding tenancy with. And I think that's the easiest way to explain it. There's no probate, there's no wills, there's no what happens if Joe and I have a house and I decide to, run away to Pugland to never to be heard from again.
Where is Pugland?
In my dreams.
Okay.
I admit
Good.
that.
I
So
appreciate
then
that.
Joe gets my interest in the property and can do whatever he wants with that. Probably go to, Cat Island.
No, he goes to the golf course. Come on, who are you
Dude,
kidding?
he would golf so many times
Yes.
if I ran away.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, that's the big difference. Usually the words with rights of survivorship will go after joint tenancy with rights of survivorship, just saying that I'm gone, you get my everything.
Right. That was the most common tenancy that was utilized for many, many years. And then, recently they came up with the final one, which is tenants by the entirety.
Mhm.
Tenants by the entirety only applies to married people, okay? Same-sex marriage, that's fine, okay? But married people, married couples can only have tenancy by the entirety. It's the strongest form, so if there's a judgment against one owner, it doesn't attach to the other, okay? Upon death, the survivor automatically owns the property and probate's not needed. So it transfers on death right away, there's no issue with that.
Yep.
So that's the most common for the married folks.
For those married folks out
Okay.
there.
Amy, I'm gonna ask you the question, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
No.
What does Illinois default to if tenancy is not listed in a deed?
Tenants in common.
That a girl. Good answer. So if
Aim for the day! I
if
can go
there's
home.
no, if you just put on, you are buying property and your deed just says Bob and
and
Mary
Joe?
Smith.
Yeah.
And no tenancy is indicated, it will default to tenants in common.
Here, what if it says like Bob and Mary Joe, husband and wife,
Okay,
still defaults to tenants in common.
correct. It will never.
So it
ever
doesn't default to like
It will
tenants by
not
the
upgrade
entirety.
you.
Got
No,
it. Yep.
yeah, there's no free
just,
upgrades.
just so people know
Yeah,
that, like,
no, that's a great question.
if you are holding a property like that,
No, it's a really, really great question, and I'm glad you asked it, because a lot of people, they
since
have
I'm saying husband and wife, obviously it means
right,
that.
and whatever I have, she has, so if I die, I'm gonna get it.
Right.
Well, no, so it defaults to 50-50, okay? And it defaults to tenants in common.
Yep.
So,
So husband dies, it goes to probate maybe, it goes
well, yeah, or it says I can do with it whatever I wish, with my 50%.
to. Correct, exactly.
That other 50%, hopefully there's a will in place that will dictate where it goes.
Yep.
If not, it goes to the wife's heirs, which hopefully are yours, okay? And maybe that comes to a probate problem in question where now you get the attorneys involved and figure out how do I get that other 50%? Because now you own the property with your kids in reality, okay? So again, that's why the importance of the right deed, the right tenancy denotation is important. I think there are so many deeds out there that you look through that are not, they just don't have any.
Correct.
And, God forbid something happens, it's a real
It's a
thing.
problem, yeah.
So make sure you mention to your attorney. I would say that most of the attorneys are going to give you the language and the definitions and conversation about this. But again, there's some out there that don't. So,
For sure.
Um,
All right, Rye, let's flip that slide. We'll do this super quick before we get these people out of here.
a lot of knowledge today.
Dude, my brain's gonna explode.
We are feeding knowledge.
So just on the horizon, we always say we are the title company that cares. It's more than just a day-to-day business for us. We give back to the community, and anytime we can be involved with giving back, you will find us doing it. So we have Feed My Starving Children coming up on the 18th.
Can't wait.
We have a handful of people that have already signed up to come with us, and it's so cool that it won't just be. I mean, I love my team, trust me, but to grow the team to more people is super awesome. So
Clients and friends. Yeah.
yes, so Feed My Starving Children is coming up in less than a month now.
Yep.
It's crazy. And then we touched on it earlier, we have our thank you to our clients / our fundraising event for Almost Home that is on December 10th from 3 to 6, like we said earlier. There will be some fundraising, there will be some food, there will be all that fun stuff. So if you have not reached out to Chris yet to get the information, make sure you do that, and he will give you how to sign up, where to be, and when to be there.
And we're definitely going to have a blood drive in between all this mess as well.
One thing at a time, man.
It's certainly something that we
Hurt my
are,
brain.
we're definitely gonna do. We got some fun events planned for next week that we're kind of just gonna unravel here. Maybe you'll hear about it on Monday. So stay tuned for that. But again, the question we get a lot is, what's the difference? Why Inspired Title? What's the difference between Inspired Title and every other title company? And what we're sitting here doing right now is probably the main reason that we are different from everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
We care. We're going to give back. We are very, very active in the community and active in the giving to charities and getting out there. So if you want a title company that's different, if you want to work with people who are out there for the betterment of the world and the community, that's us. And
Yep.
I'm so proud of the leadership team here. I'm so proud of the team of folks that we have and we get to share days with every day. It's just so enjoyable to do what we do, and it gives me great hope to continue doing this and continue exploring the opportunities that are on the horizon. So thank you guys for tuning in every week. Thank you guys for sharing this and being a part of these events with us.
Mm-hmm.
The NOCC walk was amazing.
Yes, there's a post.
800 people in it.
Yeah, we have a post coming up. I think Eddie's got it scheduled for tomorrow, just to say thank you, and we appreciate everybody that donated and went and walked. It's a great thing.
Ryan was there. Ryan, a lot of folks out there, right?
Very many. We had, for our team, for the Chicago sector, we had about 75 people just for our team.
That's great.
So we were the second largest team there.
That's so awesome.
The one above us, I think, had about 100, maybe a little bit more,
Okay.
and they've
Coming
been
to
more.
get ya.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was beautiful to see everybody out there. Something for my mom and for everybody else that's out there battling all that. So it was
Great cause, and they're doing a great job with that. Really just a supportive act that I think that is something that just makes a difference. And I'll say it again, it's bigger than us, and I'm blessed and thankful that God has utilized me to kind of doing some of these things, and the team here is believing in me and really helping carry through my vision of what we want to do here as a company. So do us a favor and share this thing and get this thing out there on the social media platforms. Talk about it. Let people know about our events. Let people know about Feed My Starving Children. Point people to our Facebook pages.
And if you can be there, and like I said, if you're having trouble signing up and you don't like technology, shoot me an email or shoot the team an email, and we will get you signed up, and
Absolutely.
I will let you know what to do.
Don't let that be the reason you're not going to do it. That's not the reason. Not at all.
Make it a Friday fun day for you.
Absolutely. So, I think we're gonna let them go. And
Already?
we're gonna be here on Monday around noon o'clock, is what Amy said earlier. We're gonna be around noon o'clock on Monday.
Sleep.
We're gonna do some
been a long
motivation
week.
Monday, and then Tuesday. Let's see. Let me check my calendar. Tuesday noon o'clock. Amy will be doing her positive vibes and maybe some 2 for Tuesday. So please stick around for that fun. Wednesday or Thursday we got another guest coming out theoretically. and we'll be talking to one of our attorney agents, and kind of digging into his brain about the business, the industry, what's going on.
Talk about Halloween, digging brains.
Absolutely. You guys have any questions for him? Get those things all ready to go. We can take some questions.
Well,
live
Brett
on-
Michaels
on
be
the
here
air.
to interview Sal.
Why would that happen? No. When is Halloween? What actually day is Halloween?
Monday. A week from Monday.
Yeah, okay. Maybe that Motivation Monday will be very Halloween-y. We'll see. It'll be spooky, yes.
I
So,
should just wear all green and be a floating head.
we did that in Christmas.
Well, you
Floating-
did your bacon
I
sweater.
unintentionally
You-
did that. I was a bacon
I am a
sweater
floating
floating head.
head.
Good times. Good times had by all. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we thank you. Thank you for tuning in and joining us here today. My name is Drew.
My name is Sleepy. Amy.
My name is Sleepy. We are your Inspired Title team. We thank you guys for tuning in, and we hope you guys have a great and safe weekend. We'll talk to you again on Monday. Take care, everybody.
Well, there you have it. That is it for this week's edition of Title Talk. Be sure to our Inspire page and subscribe and like, and make sure you follow the team on Instagram and Facebook. Join us again next time for more tips and industry pro. Again for listening.